Welcome to Cool Nerds Unite. I'm Roderick.
And I'm Justin.
We have a very special guest here with us today, Mr. Troy Fulkerson, the Redbeard Cometh.
Hello.
What's up,
Hey.
Troy?
Hey.
Welcome to Cool Nerds Unite.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's been a wonderful feat in the making. You hear, because I know with our schedule it's not jiving well, but
Long time
it was
coming.
meant to be.
Yeah.
The stars have aligned.
The God smile today.
Yes. Bing! Under his
A
eye.
very Colgate smile.
My shiny teeth in me.
So, Troy,
Yes.
where are you from? Tell the listening audience where you're from.
I am from here in Detroit, Livonia, Michigan. So
Right.
I'm in the fake Detroit that everybody
Ah.
says, when everybody says, hey, where are you from? And you say, I'm from Detroit. But really, you're from the suburbs because if you say Livonia, they're going to go, I don't know
What's
where the heck
Livonia?
that is. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is I grew up in Redford, so if people didn't know where Redford was, but they were from Michigan, they would always at least know Livonia, because it's kind of like...
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess Livonia's kind of big because I grew up in Westland, so that's the
Okay,
same sort
yeah.
of, like Westland. I don't know where that is. Don't worry about it. It's not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Westland's
I'll just say Detroit and you'll go, sure,
Yeah.
why not?
And then you have other people that are living in the city of Detroit and don't want to live in the city of Detroit and don't want to say that they are from
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah,
I've come
I guess.
across that too.
That's a weird thing. It's
Yeah. Well, it's like East Point changing their name from East Detroit to
Yeah.
East Point.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're still Detroit, but that's cool.
Yeah. So, Troy, tell the listening
Mm-hmm.
audience what your artistic style is like, because you do have an artistic style. You're a phenomenal artist.
Oh, thank you. It's I do a lot of black and white on tone paper, but color is frustrating, so black and white is just easier.
Is there a type of like inks or pens or markers or...
Whatever I can find. I do a lot of sketching. I like really sketchy art. It feels more vibrant and like it's moving as opposed
Yeah.
to like fully aligned art. But there are people that do it really great, and so I don't know. I love all sorts of art, so making it is just kind of fun. I don't feel like I have a particularly unique style, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just feel like it kind of changes consistently. So like it's always kind of changing into what my mood is like. Oops, sorry. Between like really cartoony or trying to do more like realistic stuff. It all just kind of depends on what I feel like doing. Like when I draw comics and like doodles and stuff like that, those are always a lot more my favorite because I can like be loose and draw more silly things where nothing's proportionate. But then, especially with commissions or like the Halloween drawings that I get asked to do all the time, or the spooky like horror movie drawings.
Yeah, I remember I asked you.
Yes, the last
still
Halloween
have it,
episode
too.
commission. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's a lot more because I have reference. It feels more comfortable, but at the same time, like I know when there's a mistake. Like it's like, oh, check it out. That guy's proportions are totally not right, and it looks very obvious, at least to me. And then everybody goes, "No, it looks great." And I'm like in my head, "No, it's not. It's wrong. Do better." But yeah, I don't know. I like horror movies and I like stuff like that, so I like to draw a lot of spooky stuff. But I'm too happy to be into that stuff all the time. So then there's a lot of just like really goofy silliness that goes along with it.
Yeah, to kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any artists that you would say inspired you, like visual artists?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. So there, I went to school for animation. Ever since I was little, I wanted to be an animator.
Nice. Where'd you go to school at?
I went to Columbia College in Chicago. So not like Columbia University, not the fancy one, but Columbia College, which came out recently to be like in the top 20 worst schools in the country.
Wow.
So, it's whatever. I made cool stuff while I was there, and I met a lot of cool people, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so growing up, it was all animators. It was Chuck Jones. It was John Kricfalusi. Gendy Tartakovsky. Now that I'm on the spot, I can't think of anybody. But Craig McCracken, who did the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. Like I loved that stuff growing up. All the Tex Avery, Bud Clampett, Disney, of course, and all the Ub Iwerks. But then, like growing as I would read comics here and there, and then just kind of be like, "Oh, these are cool. I like to be the X-Men, and check it out. Wolverine and Colossus are super cool." But I never really got into them until like middle school or high school, aside from just like having them and knowing about superheroes. Like it would just be whatever my parents would come home from the grocery store with and be like, "Hey, we brought you some X-Men or Batman or whatever." And now as like an adult looking back on it and understanding that the art is super awesome.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, so my favorite comic artist now would be like Mike Mignola, who does Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
And all those, like BPRD universe stuff. Although not anymore. And Eric Powell, who does The Goon and Redneck and stuff like that. I'm sorry, Hillbilly, not Redneck, Hillbilly. He's one of my favorite artists ever, and super nice guy. Jim Mafood, for comic stuff. I'm trying to think of other people. Those are my two like standbys. So,
but that's something you said that, because you know what? When I look at some of your work, some of your artwork, I kind of get a Jack Kirby style.
I mean, that's a huge compliment. So thank you. I mean, Jack Kirby always like the super psychedelic, crazy, like lots of blacks, huge thick outlines and super angular stuff. That's pretty awesome. So I appreciate that. Wasn't what I was going for, but I'm not mad to be compared next to it. That's super cool. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Who's your favorite horror movie icon?
Oh,
do you have one, or
gosh.
Several?
I don't know if The Thing is like a horror movie icon, like the monster itself. I don't know if I would consider it that, but like he's not like the generic slasher like everybody always goes with, like Jason or Freddy, which are both awesome. Freddy was always fun to me. Jason was cool just because he couldn't die. I didn't really care about Michael Myers a whole lot, and I know that's kind of heresy. I like the Halloween movies, but as like a character, individual thing, because he wasn't, he got more ridiculous, but I really didn't like those movies. Like the first two were cool as a kid, and then like all the other ones when they're like, surprise, he's the brother, and surprise, he's been cursed with like a Viking ancient Celtic spell, and I was like, this is so dumb, I don't care. Busta Rhymes was there for a little bit, or was it Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, it was Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, so like all those, I really didn't like those movies.
Became a comedy to me.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, I forgot all about that movie until you brought it up.
Yeah. Oh, Leatherface. Leatherface was super cool, and he scared the crap out of me as a kid. I remember the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when he just like bonks that dude with the hammer. That spooked me super hard. There wasn't even the chainsaw stuff. It was just him just showing up and just like bonk and then pulling him back into the house.
That's an iconic scene.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's one of Kimberly Bond, our friend Kimberly.
Yeah.
That's one of her favorite characters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Leatherface was up there for me. I mean, Sam from Trick or Treat. I love him.
Yeah.
He's like my favorite new little dude from the last, when did that movie come out? Like last 10 years or so?
I think it was 2006, 2007.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that seems so much
time,
longer. But yeah.
Long overdue for another movie.
Yeah. Well, we got Krampus, which is same director, right?
Oh yeah.
Krampus
That was great.
Sweet. Yeah. But yeah, Sam is fun. He kind of like, I feel like he encompasses that like whole, like as a good mascot and leader for like a whole movement of like Halloween and spooky movies.
Yeah.
But in terms of like favorite movie monster is probably, including slashers, I'll say it's the Thing.
Oh yeah. John Carpenter's
The Thing. Although I do like The Thing that came from outer space. That's pretty good too.
James Arness played the original.
I found that at the thrift store on VHS for like 50 cents, and now that's in my garage, and I watch it a lot when I'm
That is a
painting.
good find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50 cents.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, nobody wants VHS tapes anymore. So I'm just that nerd that goes through and is like, good, yes.
Yeah.
And then, curates a crazy nerdy collection of tapes on an obsolete format just so I can watch them and watch how crappy they are with the analog tracking and, all the hisses and pops. I love it. It's great.
So are you working on any type of, how can I say, cosplay outfits? Because I remember some years back, you probably forgot about this, but I remember it was like maybe... I say about 3 or 4 years ago, for a Comic-Con, you had the Yellow Lantern blue jean jacket.
Oh yeah, that's my old standby. That's the punk lantern. My buddy goes as he's got a bright red vest and I have a bright yellow vest, and aside from looking like like crusty punk, ketchup and mustard, like on the back there's a big I've got a huge Yellow Lantern signet on it, and he's got the big Red Lantern signet, and we both wrote a whole bunch of punk nonsense and all related to it, of course, and then walk around with the cheap plastic power rings that you could buy from the thrift store or the comic shop for like 25 cents or whatever.
Yeah, I got a few of those at home.
Oh,
myself.
I got all of them, and it's always cool to just put them on when no one's home and just pretend like you have all the power in the universe, you know. I'm working on a Plague Marine from Warhammer, which is like next level nerdy.
Yeah.
Warhammer itself, I feel like there's like general nerddom, and then it's like we're going to get into some advanced tabletop wargaming and all the huge war and fluff behind it, and that's like I feel like uncomfortable talking about it. It's so nerdy. Not like uncomfortable, but like
you're amongst friends.
No, I get it. But when you start talking about like the
nerds
Emperor
here.
of Mankind and like all the factions and stuff, and people are like, "What the heck is he talking about?" Like,
I've had a couple friends that were really into Warhammer, and one of the things that got me the most about it was just how much, like, it's one of those fandoms where there's so much to it, and it can get really expensive to get into. Like some of these collections I've seen.
I have like a few models, but when it's like $90 for like a 3-inch piece of plastic, I can't justify it. So
and then you got to paint it.
Oh yeah, and then you have to put it together and paint it, which is it's awesome and I love it, but at the same time I can't justify it. Anywho, there's a whole see, this is why you can't talk about Warhammer to nerds that like Warhammer.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Because you just explode and just rant about plastic. But then there's characters in there called Plague Marines that are Space Marines, which
isn't it like give me one Plague Marine or 100 of any other men or something of that nature?
I mean, probably like Space Marines in general are supposed to be like they are the mega elite like soldiers
like the
of
Spartans
humanity. So they're like 7 feet tall and have like 2 hearts and 3 lungs, and they wear like 2-ton armor and. Why do I know that? It doesn't matter.
It's cool, man.
It's
cool.
like knowing Star Wars stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, see, I can't even talk about the one costume I'm doing because I'm just like, listen, Warhammer is cool. I read these books. But anyway, they're gross, disgusting, like zombie Space Marines. They got blessed by a chaos god called Nurgle, who is the god of rot and decay. So they're all gross and like oozing, and they've got sores everywhere.
That's I wonder if that's what they did to the mountain.
What?
I wonder if that's what they did to the mountain.
From
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Like anytime they show him, I'm like, so close. Look at him with this gross, nasty face under that helmet. And there were pictures. There's the Instagram account SFX Atlas that had leaked pictures. They said they were from last season. They're like, it's from seasons 5 and 6. But yeah, it was like, that's him missing a whole bunch of his face and gross stuff, and they've never taken off his helmet yet. Sir Robert Strong,
animated corpse, man. He big.
Yeah. What I'm curious is to just is he alive or is he undead or is he zombified? I'm
gonna assume he's undead, like he's back from the dead, and probably still retains a little bit of him, but is
because he still like follows orders from Cersei and
he probably knows what's up. Like he's still alive, but he's probably more subservient than anything else.
Ready to wreak havoc.
Yeah. So anyway, Plague Marine costume. That's what I'm building. It's all out of EVA foam. It'll be done eventually. I was trying to get it done for C2E2. I was up until like 3 a.m. the night before. I just realized it wasn't going to be done. And instead of like struggling and like dying trying to rig it all to fit on my body and strap it, I was like, I can just not do it and have a good time at the convention instead of thinking I'm going to die, in heat stroke and big foam and no sleep. So it'll be done eventually, sometime soon, within the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Okay, well, just in time for
Motor City
Comic-Con, which is May 17th, right?
Indeed.
Indubitably.
This will be the first year in a long time that I don't have a booth there. So I'm excited to kind of just actually walk around and see, because I've been stuck behind a table for the last few years trying to sell and sling art that I haven't actually seen the convention.
Man, to see you there at the Comic-Con behind the table, that is a diehard comic book fan and businessman. I tell you, man, I never seen you in that light before, and it did my heart good to see you in that light, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was. We gotta go to the Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be doing Michigan Comic-Con, which is August. It's like a couple months later. It's August 16th through the 18th, I think.
Yeah.
That's the one in Kobo, the soon-to-be renamed Kobo. Yeah. But man, I love seeing friends at Comic-Cons and stuff like that. Just the same way that you were talking about me, like seeing. I have a couple other friends that run booths, and like the first time my friends get booths, it feels so good to be like, yeah, you're doing it. You're selling your art, getting nerdy. Like seeing Amber at Michigan last year was super awesome. That felt really good. I was like high-fiving her and just getting like super hype about it. Telling all my friends, hey, go check out her art.
She was very excited too.
Yeah.
Very excited. It's always good to see your friends doing well and they're in their zone.
Yeah.
In their environment. It's a good feeling to see that.
It took a while to get. I'm still not confident, and not like that's wrong words. I'm confident with like the stuff that I do, but like I don't like leaving my booth. There's a lot of friends that I know that are like, "Hey, I'm gonna go take a walk and look around." And every time I do that, it's like I'll do a lap around like one area and then be like, "What if someone comes by?" And then go run back to my booth, even if I have like a helper with me.
Why you feel that way?
I don't know. In case somebody shows up.
Okay.
Like I get messages all the time, like, "Hey, I was at your booth and you weren't there," and that's like the one time that I get up to go to the bathroom or something, and it's like,
Yeah, Stan Lee just stopped by. He really likes your stuff.
True story. I was getting ready to go to the bathroom before at Indiana Comic-Con 2016, I think. And right as I was getting up, John Rhys-Davies came to my booth.
Oh my god!
I remember you telling me about that.
It was that moment of like, I almost missed this.
Wow.
And he just came by and he saw the sign, and that was like my second convention ever, and it just said Troy Fulkerson, independent artist. He went, "Independent artist Troy Fulkerson." Ha! And he came over and shook my hand and slapped me on the shoulder and
That
was
is
like,
the coolest
"And
story.
I hope you stay that way forever, my friend." Ha ha! And then just like walked away, and I was like, "Oh my god, I just met Gimli and Sala." Ha ha!
You know what?
That is
You sound
fantastic.
exactly like him.
And I don't think I realized, like, I knew he was a big dude, but like I never put two and two together because I was, after thinking of him as Sala and then being like, "Oh, he's Gimli," right? And then coming back and be like, "No, he's like 6'something," and I'm not a big person, so it was looking up, and it was pretty interesting. But he talked to like everybody down that row. He was the only celebrity that like came out and was like looking at everybody's art and like just talking.
That's awesome.
And everybody nerded out, and he seemed like super appreciative of that. And so he's like top 5 for me now because of just how friendly he was.
That's awesome.
So, name some of the other people you were able to meet down there at the Comic-Con. Other stars or people that you have seen on TV or movies.
I said hi to Ron Perlman once.
Okay. How did that go?
I mean, we were just like passing, and he was just like, I was like, "Oh my god, hey, Ron Perlman," and he was like, "Hey, bud," and then like pulled out he was just chewing on a cigar and just kind of like nodded his head and then just kept going.
See that?
I told Captain Jack from Doctor Who that he was super handsome, and he winked at me while he was walking by, so that felt pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if I met. I mean, aside from like other artists, like going up to their booths and talking to them. Like Eric Powell, I will always go and make a point to talk to him at Comic-Cons, and I have religiously always forgotten to bring my copy of The Goon Chinatown, which is my favorite comic book, and I always want him to sign it, and then every time it's like I will bring it to the convention and then like leave it at the hotel room, and just like it's been like 5 years in a row now that's happened. He eventually just signed my sketchbook and drew like a little goon in it.
I got to bring this up because you posted this photo on Facebook, I think about a year ago, but you cosplayed as Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love wrestling. Like back in the, like for me growing up, wrestling was a huge thing, and Macho Man is my favorite. Mostly because he was so ridiculous and like larger than life as a kid. And I was like, I want to do a cheap cosplay, so I bought some women's underwear online and some Spanx to wear underneath, so I wasn't that naked. And then just made a big purple sparkly cape out of a tablecloth and bought a crappy wig and some cool sunglasses, and then just wandered around screaming, "Oh yeah!" People got hype. I was shirtless in public, and it was uncomfortable for everyone involved, including myself. All my friends walking around were like, "Oh my god, dude." Because I looked mostly naked. Like the Spanx were there, but like they were skin toned, so if you weren't paying attention, it just looked like a dude wandering around with a cape in his underpants, screaming about coffee creamers and Miss Elizabeth and stuff like that. Slim Jims.
So did you stay in, or actually just even a question for whenever you dress up in cosplay, do you stay in character for the whole show? Or?
Oh, gosh, no. Macho Man, kind of, because people will just like, you can be like talking to your friend and people will go like, "Oh my God, Macho Man," and you can just go, "Oh yeah," or "Snap into a Slim Jim," and people get hype about it.
You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, I got you for 3 minutes. Sorry, I was probably super loud, but just like, so that's easy to do. I dressed up as old Greg from the Mighty Boosh. If you guys have ever seen that, so like crazy seaweed wig that I made, and then painted my face. Was wearing like a pink tutu. I wear pretty ridiculous. I cross dress a lot for cosplay, and the more I'm thinking about it, because I did 11 too.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring that up.
I've not seen this.
I gotta think about some things, rethink a few key principles. But like, like I would just be kind of walking around talking to my girlfriend who was dressed up like Howard from the Mighty Boosh. And then so every time that would happen, some people like, I'm old Greg, and then I'd feel like I'd have to scream something back, like, I drink Bailey's from a shoe,
I want you.
Do you love me? So yeah, so not really. Like when I do other stuff, I don't I don't want to stay in. It's exhausting. Like you see those people, and like props to them that can keep it up like that.
And make a living.
Yeah, make a living. Like that's super cool. And I've never done anything that was like super like pose worthy, where like you see the people that stand there in their giant awesome cosplays, and people just take pictures for like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. It's always just kind of like the one or two nerds on the side that are like, hey, I like your cosplay, and that's awesome. That's all I need, because I'm just there to have a good time too. But I just felt like dressing up.
I think the only thing that bothers me is when I see someone dressed up in cosplay, is when they don't speak. They're so into character. I guess I'm big on speaking, but I remember one guy, he was dressed up as the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, hey, man, that's an awesome get-up you got on. You look exactly like him. He didn't say anything. And I said, so how's your day going? I'm trying to engage. Yeah. Because there's no one else around except for me and him. Yeah. I can see if there's other people around waiting to take photos. Yeah. I was like, wow. Okay, you're really into character right now. You're really scaring me. I don't want to take any photos. I just keep walking.
I'm a little uncomfortable. I'd like to keep
take
my
a photo
eyes.
with him. I was like, and he just looked at me like he really wanted to just rip me apart.
Wow.
Yeah, throw you on the side of the school bus. Yeah.
It's like, oh, Juggernaut, you're so cool.
Yeah.
We got Star Wars coming up in December. Are you thinking about doing some more, stuff in terms of making some more costumes? Or
I made one Star Wars cosplay a while ago. Yeah. It was just kind of like my own thing, but I like the bounty hunters and like the scum and villainy, and I love all the side characters in Star Wars. Boba Fett's my man. Dengar, Bosk, all those guys.
IG-88.
Yeah.
Indeed.
The greatest coffee maker of all time. The most deadly coffee maker of all time. But there, so I did the man with no name, but like mixed with like Boba Fett and Han Solo. So I made a DL-44 and then like dressed up like the man with no name, but put like Mandalorian plates on the vest and stuff like that. It was cool. But I don't want to do like a Stormtrooper cosplay or anything. Okay. The 501st are like legit, and there's guidelines, and you can't, deviate from that. And as awesome as that is, I only do it just to have fun, and that's like beyond what I want to do.
Wow.
It's also really expensive, and I remember talking to a guy in the 501st who was trying to have lunch but couldn't sit down because of the like armored butt plate. And he was like with his family, and I was like, man, that sucks. So
and are there like dues involved and other?
I don't know. I've looked into it like once or twice when I wanted to do a clone commando. And so I was like, it'd be cool. But then like reading into that, they had the same sort of thing. And I don't remember if you had to go with the 501st or if there was like an actual clone division or what. But those guys are cool and awesome, super friendly. And it's too involved for me. I've got too many projects like always going in my head to be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. To not just like dedicate like a lifetime to making armor, or like I was reading like building an R2-D2 takes like years. And I was like, and wow, thousands of dollars. And as bad as I want to do that, I couldn't do that. So I understand that my ADD only has limits. I can only focus for so long.
So what are your thoughts about the new Star Wars movie?
Cautiously optimistic. I really didn't like Last Jedi. So
neither did I.
Yeah.
So I here's the thing. You could show me anything like with John Williams music behind it. Like they could just be someone throwing a Yoda puppet against a wall and with like the beautiful like love score behind it, the Han and Leia love score, and I would get weepy. Like it's so beautiful. there could be like, with stupid like, title cards in between like prepare for the last Yoda, and it's just, like Kermit the Frog screaming, and I'd be like, yes, this is everything I want.
I'm Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, but I had to like tone myself down. Like after I got super hype and was like, like misty eyed because I'm a huge nerd and it takes nothing to set me off.
Yeah.
That I was like, well, hold on. Just remember how much you didn't like the last one, and just remember how okay Solo was. And The Force Awakens, I felt like it tricked me. Like in the theater, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And then I walked out of the theater and I was like, wait a minute. I've seen that movie 100 times. Like, oh, that's not fair. That's cheating.
There's a lot of worry as how The Force Awakens was kind of just like a Mad Lib of A New Hope, that they're worried that, because it's called Return of the Sith, or no, Return of the...
Rise of the Skywalker.
Rise of the Skywalker, yeah.
Rise of the Skywalker.
Which I really don't like that title, and I'm sure it'll make more sense in the movie, but it just feels super clunky. Again, that's really irrelevant and not important, especially in the opinion of a movie. It could be called like Duke Fartknocker Strikes Back, and I would still go see it.
The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Star Wars 9, the Electric Boogaloo, and Palpatine's got cool glasses on. But
and they bring back Turbo.
Yeah.
And Shabadoo. All right. This could be entertaining.
But I don't know. I'm nervous that it's just going to be Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like so far, they've shown scenes of a desert planet and them on there, and then they're showing them on another world with part of a broken Death Star, and then Palpatine laughs, and then Lando's flying the Falcon with Chewie, and I was like, well,
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah. To be fair, he never flew he never flew with Chewie in any of the other movies. Solo, but because in Return of the Jedi, Chewie's on Endor, so it's just him and Nien Nunb or whatever. So, but still, cautiously optimistic. Hope it's going to be good and not just like hitting major plot points that have already been covered with, a new skin.
A little bit. Because I was thinking like, okay, if it plays out that way, then Kylo Ren becomes...
Is he going to be a good guy at the end of it while dying?
So does he get redeemed after being like a super bad guy, and then they fight and kill the super revived Emperor on what looks to be like Endor Prime as opposed to like the forest moon of Endor?
Yeah.
The actual planet of Endor is blue. I remember that from a trivia game I had.
Yeah.
And they're showing that huge Death Star piece, so I would assume it didn't just fly away into hyperspace a million years away and just actually landed on Endor. And I hope they talk about how blowing up the Death Star was terrible for everyone involved because there's all those planets there, and they would have been getting shrapnel and terrible things crashing, and all those Ewoks would have exploded.
Ooh, Ewoks. I don't know if that would be a bad thing.
I'm
sorry.
Falling fragments of
Ewoks
Death Star landing. But so it seems to me like they are hitting plot points. But again, it's like a 1.5 minute trailer. I am just drawing crazy amounts of angry conclusions from no reason. Especially when I watch the trailer and I get happy and hype about it again. So I'm just being an angry nerd for no reason. And it hasn't come out yet, and this is why I don't watch trailers.
I remember that one rule
I'm like, I know it's coming out. I'll watch like one trailer for it and then just skip it. Because I don't want to know anything else. I just want to go in blank slate and just be hype.
Troy, in closing, do you have any artwork that you're selling right now that if someone wants to view some of your artwork online, can they do so?
Yeah. I have my website and Instagram are the same thing. It's Troy Fulkerson Art. So you can search for that on Instagram or www.troyfulkersonart.com. There should be a contact link on the website. And you can always message me on Instagram. There's a Facebook that's the same thing, Troy Fulkerson Art, or just my personal Facebook page. Just shoot me a message. Everything's that's on the Instagram is for sale. A lot of the stuff on the website might be missing. I had a book that got stolen a couple years ago with a lot of the originals that were on there. But all the prints and stuff, like anything that's digital, I've always got around. So yeah, everything. I do commissions all the time. So hit me up. I'm around.
Thank you for listening to Cool Nerds Unite podcast. We at Cool Nerds Unite would like to thank you for your continued support. If you have comments or suggestions, email us at coolnerdsunite@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Listen to us on iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And remember, stay nerdy.